Fuck it. I loved this. This was freaking great. Like, seriously, this is just a ton of fun, this episode of Vanguard. And for those of you who are maybe coming over here from my Yu-Gi-Oh videos, many of you will probably remember one thing I can't stand about Yu-Gi-Oh Vrains is that every like 10 to 20 episodes, they do like a recap of just what's been happening for no reason other than I think the fact that they're afraid that if they don't do another episode every week, that you'll just completely drop, that you'll stop watching. And now at the end of the day, the point of this Vanguard episode was very much that. To the point where I think they probably even spent less money on this episode than Yu-Gi-Oh! Spends on its recap episodes. However, the difference is that they actually put a lot of creativity and fun in this and just kept it coming. Like, oh my god, the jokes didn't stop in this. Like, they were relentless. If something didn't work for you, it don't matter, because they'll throw another joke at you in like 5 seconds, and I really thought it worked, and I feel like the lower budget helped. For starters, the lower your budget, the less studio interference you're going to get, so there's that to begin with. But also, I can't help but feel that a lot of the dialogue seemed improv. A lot of it felt very much kind of either made up on the spot or made up very quickly, that kind of thing. And the fact that the character models were basically just bouncing cardboard cutouts, they didn't really have to follow any guidelines, they didn't have to make sure words synced up right, they could just have fun with what they were talking about. And by god, did they make the right choices for these actors. Blaster Blade and Blaster Dark's comedic timing was perfect as sort of the weird straight men to this situation. And the lady who plays Lozenge Magus, she pops up in a lot of animes, and by god, I think she could make reading the phone book funny. She is so good a lot of times. And then you have the person who plays Kamui finally getting to really sink their teeth into a comedic role, in my opinion. Like, they were able to just sort of lean into the ridiculousness and the silliness of what you could have with a character like Kamui if anyone knew how to write that character bearable. But yeah, no, it was just a ton of fun. I love the way the snappy dialogue works into how they describe the way the clans work. I do like that. They do genuinely bring up a lot of the strong cards in those decks. I thought a lot of that presentation was very creative, and it was a lot of fun to watch. Like, that's just it. When Yu-Gi-Oh! Does its recap episodes, they're just so bitter and boring, because you feel that no one wants to be working on it. This felt like everyone sat down and was like, okay, let's just be silly for 25 minutes. Let's have some fun with it. Let's make some goofy character models. Let's use some very simple comedy techniques to just really have fun and find a creative way to just retell information we're kind of just doing just because we were probably told to. And that's what it really felt like prevailed here. The two things of note, though, that kind of really got to me, though, was first up, they addressed the weirdness that Soul Saver Dragon has boobs. Why does it have boobs? I hate the fact that it has boobs. Dragons can't have boobs. They don't have mammary glands. Reptiles don't have nipples because they don't have the proper organs to make them. This is what I don't understand. It's like when in Doctor Who, when they brought the Solarians back in the first Matt Smith season, and look, I get why they made them sexy, but lizards shouldn't have boobs. It's as simple as that. So yeah, it was fun to see that get addressed. Then also in not a very G-rated way. And the other thing I liked was I love when they were describing Nova Grappler, how hyped they make it sound. And it sort of weirdly felt like a weird commentary on the deck. The way Battle Riser hyped it up, it made it seem so powerful and so invincible. Because the irony with Nova Grappler, and I definitely felt this when they actually described how the cards work, is Nova Grappler to me is one of those decks, everything about it should work on paper. Like, logically, it's all there. Being able to hit aggressively, hit early, do all this stuff. But for some weird reason, the deck just can't keep up, and it's sad. So seeing Battle Riser being represented as this sad, building itself up, wanting to seem amazing, and then for you to legitimately see the reasons why it should, I thought was maybe a really funny wink and a nod to those of us meta players. So, all in all, I thought this was just great. It was fun, it was creative, it was entertaining. Like, if Yu-Gi-Oh! Made all its recap episodes like this, I'd have no problem with it. In fact, I want more of this. Do this like every 10, 15 episodes. I know that might sound crazy, but if they can keep coming up with creative stuff like this, it don't matter if you are reading the phone book. It's gonna be funny. But tell me what you thought about this episode in the comment section below. And as for this week's Vanguard question of the week, so Ultra Rare Extra Booster has engulfed the meta, namely Neo Nectar. Now, to me, this is interesting because I felt like people were mostly talking about golds and kind of getting really worried about Angel Feather. But it seems like that Neo Nectar just seems to have really taken everything by storm. So my question to you is, do you think this will continue? Do you think Neo Nectar will be a tier 1 contender when it gets here as well? Because remember, when the Q4 set dropped, we were seeing Novas actually perform very well. And with the AL4 set, we were seeing Shadows perform very well. And both those decks have definitely fallen in competitive use. Shadow's not as bad as Nova's. Just I think in part due to the fact that after a few weeks, the tiers really define themselves and the decks come into their own and they really get defined as what they can and can't do. So do you think Neo will continue this? I personally think they have a good shot to be a tier 1 contender. Because remember, they generate tokens, and since they're a Force Clan, those tokens are always hitting something. But tell me what you think about that in the comment section below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week as we get on to some serious business.